Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on appointments to boards and commissions. Assessors Board of Review, appointed by the town council, completion of a 1-year term that will expire on 12/1/20. We did get a letter from a Mary Ellen Rose seeking her interest in being appointed. Is there a motion to do so?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion and then have discussion.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Discussion. Mr. Zelinski.
Mr. President, it's obvious from reading this lady's credentials that she's qualified. No problem. I just have a concern, and maybe my colleagues can help me work my way through this. Maybe there is no concern. One of the previous council meetings, we appointed Jeff Fontaine from Fontaine Realty to serve on this board. Now we're being considered to ask, we're asked to consider appointing another realtor that serves, that works in the same real estate firm. I don't know if that's diverse enough, and yet we can't get people to serve on boards. It's difficult. I just wanted to share that I have a little bit of reservation. I kind of would want to defer to the solicitor, but he's tied up, as usual, helping many other folks. David? That's okay, you're busy helping out. Did you hear my concerns about appointing someone to the Assessors Board? And they may be unfounded concerns. The candidate has tremendous qualifications. On any other day, I'd say yes. But one of our previous meetings, we appointed Mr. Jeffrey Fontaine, who everybody in town was a very admirable name. He's been in real estate for years. Again, highly qualified. This individual, the second one that we're being asked to consider, also works in the same real estate office. I'm not saying it's unethical, but I don't know if we're getting a balance of review here, if both of them work in the same office. I don't know, help me.
Well, I don't think there's any legal prohibition from being from the same real estate office.
Okay, no legal.
No legal prohibition. And I don't think it's an ethics violation because there's no financial benefit to them. That's really the key term.
Both residents.
And that would be my third question. Are they both residents?
Then I'll make a motion to appoint.
What was the question?
Are they both residents?
Are they residents?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we already have a motion.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion.
We already did. We did make the motion in a second. We were just discussing. No other discussion?
I do have a question though. So this goes to David though.
Yes, sir.
So in their role in the Assessors Board of Review, they play a role in determining or approving a certain assessment value? Like what is it? Because that does ultimately have an impact on the real estate market.
Whenever your property is assessed, you have a right to first appeal it to the tax assessor. That's the administrative. If you're unhappy with that, you have a right to appeal it to the Board of Tax Assessment Review. They sit on that board, they listen to your appeal, and then if they deny your appeal, you have a right to go, under the right circumstances, to Superior Court. In some circumstances, that's it. That's the final decision, unless you're arguing that it's an illegal tax or an illegal assessment. Unless you have those, like illegal, as opposed to unfair. Unfair is, I think my house is worth less than what you say it is. Illegal is, you're taxing something that nobody else gets taxed. I'm exempt. You're taxing me, and I'm a non-profit. That's an illegal tax. So they sit there to really assess the value of real estate on appeal. Oh, and I would say, I don't know if this town does it, when they do their, I don't know if whenever somebody, do they actually go out and do they participate in the annual assessment process? Do you have an individual company do that? They have an individual company do that, so that's just handling tax appeals, right? Tax assessment appeals.
Yes, they do tax assessment.
Just the appeals.
The appraisals don't.
That answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just curious because I know that if you don't approve, you approve something that keeps the real estate appraisal high. I know it could have, if they were selling in the area. I'm just trying to cover all bases.
Well, I mean, that's a decision for the council.
Yeah, no, I was just asking. Yeah.
It's a two-edged sword, right? You want people that know real estate, and in the area would be the best people to have on the board. And if you're saying that there's theoretically, if they're doing something to benefit themselves, that's an ethical issue.
Oh no, I wasn't saying that. I was just trying to cover all the bases.
I mean, they use all the tax cards and all that. It was based on facts, based on other home sales like that and all that, so. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
Yes. Conservation Commission, appointment by the town administrator with town council, three-year terms that will expire on 12/1/22. Mr. Administrator?
Mr. President, it's interesting tonight that I've been admonished for not making appointments, and also we're questioned as to how the process works. And I'm going to sit tonight again saying I'm not ready to make appointments to the Conservation Commission, the Economic Development Commission, Juvenile Hearing Board, or the Personnel Board. This issue was brought before the council at the last meeting with 3 days' notice. Not just for us, but for the public. And I take this obligation, my appointments, very seriously. That my seat, or my position as the administrator, it's not my seat, nor are your seats. And we have to run for re-election should we want to sustain our seat. I'm not going to suggest that the folks that are helping us, serving extremely well in our different commissions, should have to run for their seats. But we should make an effort to be certain that anyone who has interest has the opportunity to be able to put their name forward. That's what I've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to continue to try to do, because I put it in a newsletter on 2 occasions now and have received feedback. I'm evaluating that feedback. I will have recommendations as soon as possible. To the individual who asked the question, each of these appointments are defined, how they're made in the charter and or in ordinances. There are very little in the way of qualifications for any, as each of you know. And, beyond being a resident, it's our judgment, individually, in my case, with your concurrence, or your collective judgment as to who we think we should appoint. I take that seriously. I will be making recommendations as soon as I believe I've heard from the community and can make those recommendations with confidence. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Zalinski?
to the administrator, I know you're aware, Gary, you're doing a fine job as administrator. However, Conservation Commission, well, I actually attended the zoning board. You were there the other night, Mr. President. I attended a zoning board hearing in which the chairperson asked to get an opinion from the Conservation Commission. There is no Conservation Commission. They ceased having meetings back in December when they weren't appointed. There's actually, as far as we know, there's actually 4 appointments. I'm just taken aback. And Mr. Administrator, you don't have the faith in these individuals that have served a combined 29 years of service to this town. We cannot find people to serve on boards. It's difficult. And these people put themselves in danger, walking on trails, clearing away trees, falling branches. I don't know, Gary, you may have your reasons. I don't understand it. I really wish that these appointments could be made and put these honorable people back on. These volunteers that spend their time, spend their own money, because they are woefully underfunded. I'm at a loss for words. This is 3 meetings now. You said something about it was a 3-day notice. Well, okay, that was back in November. Here we are. What was it, November 3rd was the meeting? November 13th, excuse me. I took my glasses off.
November 18th.
November 18th, I should wear my glasses. This is the 3rd meeting. Gary, please expedite this. Will you get
Mr. Vice President, we have gone through this year after year. This is not in any way denigrating the contribution that any member of any commission has made. I'm trying to make sure that we hear from the entire community. I'll leave it at that and not be grandstanding. Thank you.
If I can ask a question of the solicitor, just clarification. These people continue to serve until replaced?
I think that's what the most of
the stuff in the charter states that even though they have an expiration date, they serve until replaced, if my memory serves me correct. question, just looking for that clarification.
Again, I'd have to look at each one. I didn't expect that question, but that's
But
generally.
generally, they serve until replaced.
But what does that do with the morale of this one particular board? You can keep working, we're not sure we're gonna reappoint you. I don't know. Sure, we might try to hide behind that technicality. You still serve until you're reappointed. I gotta tell you, if that was me, I'd be pissed off. You can quote that, press.
Can I say something?
No, sir.
I mean, I'm going to speak on this too. I mean, this is November 18th to now December 6th, the 16th. We're now going on to a month. And I understand the process too, maybe potentially want to evaluate all people that are coming in. I do subscribe to the newsletter, and I have seen the comments out there in terms of, we're seeking the best people that are appropriate for our position. And, I know it ends with no organization ever got great by being good enough. Well, no organization ever got great by being stagnant. And when I tried to propose the idea of an open space committee, I was ridiculed for the fact that we can't find volunteers. So why, at some point, we need to say, the search has been open long enough, just like companies do. If we're going to keep running this week after week after meeting, I agree. What kind of message are we sending to the people that have sacrificed time and energy and effort? And for what? They're doing it because they value this town. They're doing it because they believe in this town and they want to be a part of this town. And I think we're sending the wrong message that we're not appointing people that have done a good job. And I think at some point we have to say we either have a lack of interest. I don't think we're doing right by people by just dragging on a process. And it seems like we're opening up a process because we're trying to justify some qualification. And that's just kind of what it seems like. And I think at some point we have to just say, no, we have good people doing good work, and we need to continue that going forward.
Obviously, nothing on economic
I
development.
got something to say, and you're going to hear it.
Mr. Soers, you're out of order.
That's
Mr.
too goddamn
Soers,
bad.
Mr. Soers, you're out of
It's
order.
outrageous to
We're in
keep us
recess.
in limbo
We're in
like
recess.
this.
We are in recess
We've been
now.
volunteers for 14, 10, and 5 years. And to hold this over our heads like this, that's okay. My voice will carry. I don't need
Mr.
that.
Soers, you are out of order.
Oh,
And I will
that's
have
too
you
damn
removed.
bad.
And I will have you removed from this meeting.
How can you expect us to continue to operate with an attitude like that?
Mr.
that
Soers,
we're not
you are out of
He's
order.
holding an axe over our heads.
You are out of order, Mr. Soers.
So are you.
I will have you removed from the room
By whom?
by the police.
Not worth having a heart attack. Everything is there.
Conflict of interest.
So, yeah, recess?
Conflict of interest. Try to keep it close.
We're back in the session now. Nothing on the Economic Development Commission?
No, he said he's moving them all on economic.
Juvenile Hearing Board. We have a letter of resignation from Maureen Donnelly. Is there a motion to accept the letter of resignation? Is there a motion to accept the letter of resignation from Maureen A. Donnelly from the Juvenile Hearing Board and issue a letter of thanks to her?
So moved.
Mr. President, motion by Mrs. Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ogier. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Barbarola?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Resignation?
Yes. Nothing on the Personnel Board Sewer Commission. Appointment by the Town Council, one vacant 5-year term that will expire on 12/1/24. We have the names? I don't believe we do.
When we get that appointment, folks? How can we let that go?
Don't have it.
Tempers are, let's try to calm down.
Next item is zoning board appointed by the Town Council. At this time, I will recuse myself. Paperwork has been filed with the clerk.
Mr. Vice President, you have the chair.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Badman, why did you recuse?
He has something.
I cannot take any action on any zoning board appointments due to the ruling by the Ethics Commission.
Okay, so,
Paperwork has been filed with the clerk.
So do we have anybody?
oh, we basically have a vacant second alternative one-year term that will expire December 1st, 2000. We don't have anybody. Okay, so I relinquish and return to the president.
Taking care of B, discussion by council vote or other action on school building contracts. Gilbane Company invoice number J08248.000-8 in the amount of $21,102.64 and signed off by the OPM, Bob Gervasini of STV, School Department and Allen CP. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Odia, second by Mrs. Bonneville. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll vote.
Mrs. Barnwell? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadler?
Yes. Next is Gilbane construction invoice number J08248.010-8 science lab renovations in the amount of $443,784.92. All been signed off by all the above. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bonneville. For a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ogier. Under discussion through the administrator, can we, or even with the finance director, can we get a breakdown on those bonds, where we sit with those bonds from the town side of things, so we have an understanding of it as we're going?
We only have one bond.
Right, I understand
The
that.
school bond?
Right,
Okay,
4.3 million.
okay, that one.
I want to see where we
What's the
if we can get a
balance
balance
on
on that, see where we sit, because some of this I'm thinking is coming out of that too.
It is, not the lab, I think, the lab that paid with their,
It's coming out of their reserves.
it's
And-
the.
But I want to see what the
other
balance is,
one.
because we'll see when we get to January that
Mhm.
we may need some of those funds.
Yeah.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Barnwell? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadler?
Yes. And the third one is for Stephen Turner, Inc., invoice number 2958 in the amount of $146.25. All sign-offs have been made. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ogier, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bonneville. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Barnwell? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mrs. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadler?
Yes. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on resolution authorizing the submission of a large Rhode Island outdoor recreation development grant. I had this put on the agenda at the request of Mr. Kravitz. I think it's a good thing that we're looking for this, and I fully support it.
The only detail I can add for this, if I may, is that the 20% match, Gary and I were able to go through a budget and identify items that would be completed by DPW as in kind, which means technically that local appropriation in cash would be $34,394.12. In case you wanted to know the actual breakdown of the 20%. The balance, of course, would be $20,200. That would be the in-kind service.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the submission of a large Rhode Island outdoor recreational development grant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Zelinski, Mrs. Bonioli. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Barnwell? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Sorry, Mrs. O'Hara?
Yeah.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes. Lots going on in this building.
Sorry. Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Sadler?
Yes.
Got signed up.
You have one for us to sign, correct?
I do, I have a bunch of stuff.
Next item, discussion by council for other action on amendment to resolution establishing a senior citizen advisory committee. I had this put on there. As we start naming people, the clerk had asked me a question and advised me that we were making lifetime appointments. In some cases, it could be a lifetime appointment, but I think that we needed to,
Not sure I followed, I'm not sure.
So what, we're having young
so
people?
we're defining the term that will be coterminous with the council as most boards are. So I'm looking I'll make a motion that we approve that change to the resolution.
For the record, Mr. President, it's obviously in the underlined section, that's
Right.
just a.
It would be the terms of all members shall be coterminous with the terms of the council that elected them. Initial members shall serve until reappointments are designated following the next election in 2020, and then members shall serve 2-year terms until the election of the next council. Members shall serve until a successor is appointed.
Go through this, right?
Coterminous, yep. So I make the motion that we accept that change to the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bonioli. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli? Yes. Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Aguirre?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes. Then we have next is discussion by council board other action on appointment to the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. I did get a letter, and you guys have a copy of it, from Paul Jones, showing interest in it. He mentioned a different committee that does not exist.
Well,
And I
at the
asked for
time-
clarification, and he said, yes, he would still love to serve on it, so we have that name going forward. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of Paul Jones to the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee?
So, yeah, it's a clarification, was this, you reached out to Mr. Johnson?
Yes, I did, because what we want to do is have 2 older people, which Linda would be one,
Yeah.
and then Mr. Jones second, and then we have,
The other thing.
no, I can't be.
Huh?
I have to have 4 people. Because I'm the council person, I am not directly on that committee.
Sure you are. There's a council person on it.
Yeah, but then I need 4 others.
Yes.
Correct?
Right now
All
we
right,
have-
I had, they said Bob Mayo. I dropped it off, no one was there at the office, but right